People recognise him with a sort of familiarity, as if he is a member of the family.
You should say, I'm this frightfully sorry, old boy. You'd say frightfully a lot.
Sometimes I think his teeth might come out because he speaks so fast. And I think he does, too.
OK, sweetheart, nobody moves.
To describe oneself is pretty difficult because as you go through 42 years of acting, you become kind of all different kinds of people.
How do you do? How do you do, sir?
Hello, Tom.
Do not open thine eyes!
I love you, Sally. I want the world to know.
What a ridiculous idea.
It's a great education being an actor. My whole family were quite big personalities. My father he was jack of all trades. He had about 176 jobs. But he was a very happy-go-lucky chap, lived for today. The bills will be paid somehow.
Now, come on, what is it?
Well, you've heard that every cloud has a silver lining.
Yes?
At the moment, ours hasn't.
It's money, isn't it? Checkbook, Jerry.
My father, being what he was, made me very cautious. And I was always wanting the bills to be paid early and on the dot and all that. And that's followed me right through my life.
12 guineas. I never earned that much before.
Oh, try not to let the money change your way of life.
I met Richard for the first time doing national service.
Now, he knew I was desperate to act. I couldn't get any parts. In the RAF, the officers got the best parts. And I was only LAC Briers, 25606, I made. And so he said, why not join, our group? So I went and played small parts in his company there. And so he was the first person to ever give me a job, and we're still friends. This is a long time ago. We knew Terry Thomas through my father, and he was my father's cousin. And he said, well, he said, I think it's obvious you've got... He used to come and see me in the amateur shows, which is very nice of him, some dreary old church hall. He said, I think you've got something. But he says, you really want to get yourself trained at a proper drama school, because he says you've got an awful lot of speech mannerisms.
We're having jolly nice crossing Miss Bluet, aren't we? How old is she?
87.
Take her all right?
Oh, she's wonderful for her age.
Jolly good.
Well, so he suggested me taking an audition for RADA. I was very honoured in those days to be with people like O'Toole, Alan Bates and Albert Finney, who used to actually give me notes. And Albert said to me, he said, no, you're trying too hard, love. You're trying too hard. He said, let them come to you. Don't keep on bashing them in the face.
Richard was always a speed merchant. As far as I'm concerned, that is a positive virtue. Shakespeare's plays were supposed to be done in 2 hours. And I remember his Hamlet. I saw his Hamlet whilst he was still at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art.
I got a notice from Darlington, the great critic in the Telegraph in those days, and he said, last night Richard Briers played the part of Hamlet like a demented typewriter because I was very highly strung and spoke very fast.
Well, I think Richard's reply to W.A. Darlington's comment about demented typewriter was, I may not have been a very good Hamlet, but I was about the quickest.
Dickie and I agreed that we're both the quickest Hamlets on record. He wishes he had a recording of his to see whether, in fact, he was quicker than me. I didn't think he was.
I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For you yourself, sir, shall grow old as I am if, like a crab, you could go backward.
This be madness, yet there is method in it.
I think I was discovered, so long ago now, by dear Frank Muir and Dennis Norden.
We were thinking about this series called 7 Faces of Jim, for which we were doing 7 different stories. This particular one was a parody of a wartime flying film called Angels 1-5.
Now, this is where you'll wait whenever you're on standby. You can brew up on the stove, but no alcohol, not until you come off duty. Which is Driver Frobisher? Yes, sir. I see you passed out top of your entry. Yes, sir. I got the silver gear lever, sir. Well done.
I was quite new then as well because I'd just joined Jimmy Edwards in the series. He was very young.
I don't think I can take this life much longer, Sally. Have you seen some of the jobs he's put me on this last fortnight?
I know. That pickup he handed you after the international rugger match.
6 drunken Irishmen in one small cab.
And England had won.
Richard was always a nervous type performer. He gave off nervous energy, which probably accounted for speed. He probably thought, if I don't get to the end of the line quick, I might forget it.
He used to sort of rattle off his words sometimes like a machine gun, but always with clarity. You could always hear his jokes. But he would talk very fast, very fast.
I got to Hyde Park Corner. The traffic was... They were coming at me from all sides. I couldn't face it. I went up a little side street and parked. Well, just for a few minutes, I needed a drink.
On duty?
My nerves were shot to pieces. And on the next corner was a milk machine. My hands were shaking so I hardly had the strength to unfold the cardboard. Oh, but when I drank, oh, that milk was so good. Ice cold, rich, refreshing.
Skip the commercial!
So that started me off, and then they were ready to do an adaptation, Muir and Norton, of Brothers-in-Law. Ian Carmichael's just done the movie, and now they're going to do a television series, and they cast me as a very naive, jittery young barrister, Roger Thursby. And that kind of started to establish me in sitcom.
Doctor, is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to tell us?
Frank Muir and Dennis Norton were very good to me. They were very... Because I was very nervous. I mean, here I was in front of, 16, 18 million people. In those days, with only 2 channels. So to be on television, people said, my goodness, he's on television.
Why in the name of justice should he endanger his client's case by entrusting it to the likes of you? Well, as a solicitor, he may have been impressed by my performance last time I was in court. You've only been in court once, and that performance wouldn't have impressed your own mother. Here, A.K. Butterworth wouldn't be your mother. No, he isn't. He's my uncle.
You jammy barrister. Television in those days was a rather placid medium on the whole, and it needed energy, and anybody who brought energy to the screen immediately stood out.
What happened?
Oh, Mum rang and the pie caught a bit. It's all right.
Oh.
Where did you learn to kiss like that?
Marriage lines more or less epitomise the middle-class comedy.
We did, I think, about 42 episodes of that, which is the very longest run ever done. And that really set us up. We became sort of names then, and people realised, oh, that's Dickie Briers, that's Prunella Scales.
No. We can't eat that.
Yes, of course we can. I'll cut off the burnt bit. It's all right underneath. You know you like my pies.
But it isn't a pie if it hasn't got a top, it's a stew.
Well, George Starling in Marriage Lines was quite like Tom Good in The Good Life. I pretty well played myself. Highly strung, nervous, rather stupid person, desperate to get things right and getting them wrong, the usual thing.
I was looking at an extract from it, actually, the other day, and I thought it hasn't dated all that much, Marriage Lines, because we both still speak faster than anybody else in the business. The speed of the scene was staggering. I couldn't believe it. I was quite proud.
And she's beautiful.
Your parents thought she was the best-looking baby they'd ever seen. Oh, darling, I'm sorry they had to see her first, but they were able to help track down Miles's number.
And the nurse told me. What exactly did
And my
Miles...
mother's seen her too. Did you know that? She brought those flowers. Aren't they lovely? And those are from your parents. And the geraniums from the butcher's. Heaven knows how they are.
When I finally completed this series, I thought, well, I don't want to get typecast. Get back to the theatre. Keep moving, keep moving. Don't get typed, don't get put in a box. So I kept moving, went back to the theatre. The person really changed my career dramatically was Alan Ayckbourn. And his plays were, as you know, very funny, but rather sad and very real and quite cruel. So that gave me a chance to act in a broader scheme than just being funny.
There didn't seem to be a year when there wasn't a new Alan Ayckbourn play in London. And those two careers seemed to coincide. And, of course, both of them recognised in the other each other's talent.
It's like having the perfect shoe and the perfect foot to put in it.
Do you know what my biggest regret is?
No, what's that, Colin?
That none of you ever met Carol.
Who?
Carol, my ex-fiancée. She was drowned, you know.
The fact that he could play quite a dark character, quite a tragic character in a sense, a man who's just experienced personal loss, his fiancée is drowned, and has covered it up with a sort of almost unsufferable jollity.
I just want you to know that, despite everything that happened, in a funny sort of way, I too am very happy.
Oh, God.
Did I say the wrong thing?
It takes good actors to do tragedy. It takes brilliant actors to play comedy.
When I played Tom Good in The Good Life, I began to think he was a very selfish, self-obsessed person. And said, oh, he liked Tom Good. I said, well, would you live next door to him? I wouldn't.
Tom.
Margot was a wonderful part for Penny Keith. And to have Tom Good as almost like a foil to her was very funny. There's this very splendid, snobbish lady and this anarchic twit from next door.
Oh, hello, Tom. It's Margot.
Yes, it is you. Yes, it is. Tom was this marvellous, energetic guy. And then you came across this woman who was quite measured and thought very, very carefully before she did anything.
Will you be changing for dinner?
Oh, yes, of course. I'll do it now. That's better. And the only ever time you saw her, I suppose, let her hair down was when she and Tom got drunk.
Penny Keith, playing Margot, I mean, she was just a voiceover in episode 1. She wasn't even seen. And then, of course, we all realized we were working with dynamite as her part began to grow. And the writer said, you know, is it okay we make the 4? We're going to be just Felicity and me, and they were going to be feature parts. I said, for God's sake, get Penny rewritten and write Paul up. Write them up, because this is going to be a great quartet.
Hold the light still. And I will thank you not to go out in the middle of the night and leave the front door open. Anything could have happened.
Yes, you could have got out and shut it.
It is a successful formula. If you can get that sort of writing and that sort of charm. Charm is terribly important in a sitcom. I mean, even Old Fletcher had a bit of charm in the ugliest sort of way.
Margot.
Yes?
Thanks, sexy.
Don't be silly.
Alan Ayckbourn said to me, he said, what are you doing with that good life thing? He said, you know, I write a bit like that. So he was a bit sort of, what are they up to, Esmond and Larby, you know, wonderful writers. I said, well, Alan, you know, it isn't as sad as that. He said, well, they can put the odd sad scene in. I said, well, I've asked them to do that, because I do like one scene where everyone can stop laughing and we can get involved in the characters and perhaps care for them, which is the main thing I was after. We got to the point where the show was being loved, not just liked. And eventually the climax was that the Queen of England and the Duke of Edinburgh were going to come and see the show.